Alright guys, so we're back with some more casting. So, we've got TheViper on his English against DeMusliM on his Chinese. So, Mr. Baltimore, with a head so bright you can see it from space, spawning over here on the south side of the map. And the bloke who plays so much his wrists are fucked over here on the top side of the map. Don't take it personally, guys. I've got to be exciting. Sell out. Hey, you guys did it. Anyways, so our players are starting out, and they're going for second scouts here. There is one for DeMusliM. There is not one for TheViper. Actually, I take that back. There is a second scout for... Yeah, no, it's for DeMusliM. And only one for TheViper. While TheViper gonna go fishing. I got my players mixed up there for a sec. It's always confusing when someone's on a smurf. Why would I get it mixed up? How could I get it mixed up? Anyway, it's interesting there's a house all the way here at the second gold mine, but I suppose he walked all the way here, built it when he got to 9 pop, and then continued on his journey. So I wonder if that'll come back to haunt him. Because you always want to put shit in your town center radius whenever you can. It's the old age adage. As old as your grandma. Actually, are RTS games as old as your grandma? So the official's standing here, bludgeon, like your typical government worker. Alright, give us your tax money. Cheers. I'll go split it with me mates. Nah, just kidding. If you're a government worker and you're watching, I don't hate you. So, in terms of what these guys are doing, TheViper going for a big ass water boom. So his eco will eventually start to outpace Baltimore's here, assuming DeMusliM doesn't have something up his sleeve, and Chinese has a lot of things up their sleeve for eco, considering if you go for the second dynasty, the Song dynasty, you get crazy villager production, and then I mean if you go for a second town center without it, you know, you can cram that in. Sort of before this really pays itself off if they're going for a huge water boom of like 5 or 6 ships. And I mean if you go for the Song dynasty plus a second town center. Well, I mean that's just greedy as fuck, isn't it? But I mean if you can get away with it, if you can get away with it, then your eco is just crazy good. Because then you're basically making what, 2.7 villages per 1 or 2 villages your opponent is. Which is pretty nice. Pretty nice. Bigger than a couple of eco upgrades. So a village being used as well. So these are wood efficient. You're not going to be able to build one at the start of the game, but basically I think people just tend to either just throw them down pretty much as soon as they can from there. Given that it's 4 houses for the price of 2.5, and they can be garrisoned into. I don't know if they actually attack back though. I don't think so. Go on, just garrison and show me the attack if you can. And if you can't, well, I guess you can't, right? It's that simple. So the scouts just running past each other, giving each other high fives, as you do at this level. Hang on, come back, I forgot to give one of you a high five. Okay, so second scout here for TheViper. Must have been trained a little bit later than Baltimore's because I didn't see it out earlier. And so DeMusliM's going to actually focus on this house for a bit. I mean, it keeps the pressure off his base and whatever he's doing, but DeMusliM's pretty smart. He's going to know what's incoming anyway. So there'll be a council hall on the way. Because why would the English ever bother using the healing building? Because you're not going to like throw it up here while you go for some mean as fucking barracks push. Because I mean, you don't really ever see crazy age 1 barracks pushes. I mean, you probably might at lower levels, but I don't know. At my mid-level ELO. Boring level ELO because we just copy high-level players but do everything sloppily. You don't see that shit. So council halls coming in. Academy already finished, so this is a nice little eco boon. Doubling the amount of gold these guys are going to generate. That house is getting quite low now. Is DeMusliM going to micro that scout back? He is going to get it. Ooh, a little bit too slow. So DeMusliM a little bit too eager to try and bring down that house. What he probably could have even done was even bring back the low scout and have the full health one, chip it for another attack or two. And then pull it back once it lost some more health. So yeah, we got a Barbican going down. So we are going to see Song Dynasty. And he has started stone mining. So greedy stuff. But remembering the Viper has also gone for a greedy eco opening. So both these players are going to be pretty slow on their units. And might even look at going towards castle before they really worry about fielding a proper composition. But, you know, DeMusliM could look at actually taking the water and trying to attack the Viper, or even just trying to commit to land, although it's going to be hard to with extremely quick double town center production. Actually, he's probably going to go for 1 stables just to hold off while he gets the town center out, because it's going to be annoying with both longbowmen and scouts on the field harassing him. I don't think the Viper's going to want to do any scout training out of his town center, obviously, but he is going to want to keep producing out of that council hall from time to time. And he's going for a second town center himself, so it's kicking in quicker than the Chinese player's second town center. But bearing in mind that DeMusliM's already got the benefit of the Song Dynasty, so he's effectively got 1.35 town centers. The maths gets off when you include civs like French, because they inherently get a boost to their villager creation speed. But this is interesting because while it's right actually not right next to the gold mine or the stone mine or the other gold mine over here, it does mean that DeMusliM's got a perfect farm placement spot for later on. So he's sort of thinking ahead with his eco transition there. While the Viper, sort of on the other idea, he's thinking, oh, well, I've got imperfect farm placement, but being English, I'm always going to want to have a mill around the farms anyway. And it tends to be easier to just worry about putting your mill sort of up in these sorts of spots later on anyway. Away from where you're going to look at expanding your production. Because it's generally nice to have all your production in one screen if you can. Barbican taking away out the scout there. Not sure if that's because Viper wants to save the pop space, or maybe just sort of forgot about him. Because it's never going to take down the Barbican alone. And it would have been a nice screen to have in front of these bowmen. The DeMusliM's just basically going to turtle up. Oh, sniping the villager, making the walls there. So Viper cancelling every segment except for that last little piece there, but I don't think that's really consequential. But it's good to see him actually cancel it, because I see even higher level players sometimes forgetting to cancel buildings. Walls maybe not so much, but towers is one thing that you tend to see. And I mean, they're not free. 100 to 175 wood, depending on civ. So DeMusliM's not going to catch Viper's wall off in time, but he is going to at least pick the villager off. So every little bit helps with eco raiding. And bearing in mind, Viper does have this bottom segment walled up in his favour. While he does have this nice water boom, and there is that relic there. So relic placement's actually looking quite nice for both players. Everything's pretty safe for their respective player. Except for maybe this one up here at the moment. So age 3 incoming for DeMusliM. While the Viper, not far off it. I think he possibly wants to try and get a couple more eco techs here. Yeah, there we go. Grabbing wheelbarrow now. Once he gets 600 gold, he's probably going to look at still gathering a little bit more for his age 3 techs or his armory techs, but I think he's just going to work towards castle here. But he is going to get a couple of stables in the meantime. So DeMusliM clock tower finishing off. He's going to have access to some pretty potent siege. Going to add a trebuchet so he can take down all these walls and the towers safely, and then probably get a whole bunch of nest of bees. Has DeMusliM actually seen that? No, DeMusliM hasn't actually seen the dock. So this might actually end up being a bit of a saving grace here for the Viper. The eco that offers, but he's going to be unaware of this raid incoming. So if it does actually catch the blacksmith worker, this could be quite big because it's going to delay a lot of upgrades. So the Viper instantly on a good garrison there, so he might be able to pick off one or two of the horsemen in return. Yeah, he's going to get the second one, so that is nice to see for him, but he is going to have slightly delayed armory upgrades here. And his age 3 kicking in, so he's going for the 3 town centre opening. Well, 3 town centre style. It's not really an opening this late into the game. We're 12 minutes in. So I think he is still going to have a bit of an eco advantage now over the Chinese player. But DeMuslim's got a nice couple of kills of villagers. Managed to deny this wall with his Barbican placement. So he has actually... Oh, he must have seen one of the fishing ships earlier. It's the dock. It's not going to last terribly long here. Ooh, but transport ship. This is very crafty from the Viper. I think he was probably always intending to do this. It's just convenient that it's ready to go in time to deny the clock tower siege units. But knights denying a lot of vill gathering time here from DeMusliM. So these guys now out busy repairing, spending resources and not gathering, while DeMusliM have to keep defending against more knights being dropped into his base by the Viper. But oh, this must have been what he was going for, a quick aggressive keep on his opponent's doorstep, but English fills are actually going to make this a little bit harder to pull off than against some of the other civs, because I mean, a nice ranged attack of theirs, but the nest of bees in to support this is going to mean that they're not going to want to stick around. But meanwhile, there is a couple of knights in raiding DeMusliM's base at the moment. So with only a single Lancer to focus them down, they are going to deny a bit of gold gathering there. And over here, they're going to start one of those nest of bees, which is nice. The Vils not actually repairing it, which might not be all that great. But it's going to go down. And the keep does finish up in the end. So the nest of bees proving to threaten too many villages, and the Viper not looking to actually risk them. He's not risking it for the biscuit. But DeMusliM's eco is taking a toll behind this. He's cleaned up one of those raids. But over here there is still a knight proving to be a nuisance. So a defensive keep here from the Viper. And he's going to lose that second town center of his, but bearing in mind he still has that King's Palace. He has started to get some armory upgrades already. So DeMusliM, do you actually have an armory here, man? I don't think DeMusliM even has an armory at this point. No armory upgrades, YOLO. Age 4, Wingard Palace here. So this produces a really nice, cost-effective mix of units for the English player at an immense discount. But while this is going on, DeMusliM gonna keep him. And yeah, there is no armory here. No blacksmith, I should say, for DeMusliM, which is just flat out weird at this level of play. It's just amazing what people like he and Eerie pull off with no armory style builds. I don't need blacksmith, I just need to be able to spend to get to what I need to get to kill you. How do they do it? But this is nice. The use of the clock tower, nest of bees. Wipe out all the fishing ships. They're not going to last terribly long. You can even clean up that transport ship. So now the Viper not going to be able to make use of some crazy water plays, nor is water eco. Just going to have to try and break this hold. And the English keeps, the beauty of them is that they double as any sort of military production facility. And the Wingard Palace also producing a mixed army of Spearman, Longbow, Knight and Treb at a bit of a discount. So you get one of each of those things. It does train quite slowly relative to all your other stuff, but you know, it's definitely worth saving. And later on, obviously, once you've got a bit more resources in the bank, you can just spend up on a whole bunch of production out of other buildings and just rely on that, giving you a bit of, you know, production neutrality just to tie everything together. You don't have to worry about getting like fucking 3 or 4 siege workshops or 3 or 4 keeps, you just get one. So Viper's up to an impressive number of trebs, but bearing in mind they've got to compete with these Chinese trebs which have 50% health bonus. So the dock hasn't even been finished off yet by DeMusliM, but I think he's not really all that worried that the Viper's going to be going into more fishing ships at this stage of the game, or trying to go for some warship or transport ship aggression. Siege workshop, academy. Do you even have an armory, man? No armory, YOLO. This is a lot of aggressive keeps here by DeMusliM. Gonna be able to get this one. There's a couple of trebs ready to deny this, and I mean they do take a bit of extra damage before they get built. But it is just about finished. Yeah, and he's straight on the repair. So this has proven to be ever the best for the Viper, because these actually hit quite hard. And they must hit slightly harder than they do on the other civs as well, given that they're a gunpowder civ. So DeMusliM continuing to siege up the front side of the Viper's base, but meanwhile also raiding this wood line, robbing him of crucial resources at this point. And that keep still stands for now. The villages are going to get slowly picked off by the town centre. Oh no, the town centre's focusing the keep down. Alright, this might be the end of it now. Another keep, the one at the front of Viper's base is going to fall. Well, that's a lot of repairers actually, 24. Unreal, actually it might not fall here. Oh, and it does! Gee! That's a lot of eco tied up trying to keep that one going. And DeMusliM's going to creep forward again with another one. So it's just keep creeping at the moment. Oh, he's even... Did he cancel it or is he just... He must have cancelled it. Unreal. Perhaps a bit too greedy. I think the original placement was probably the better spot. There's stacks of trebs here for both players, although a bit of an advantage to DeMusliM in that sense. Ooh, and more gathering denied by DeMusliM. Viper's struggling to cram in houses and production in amongst this because he is dropping buildings while this is going on. The council hall's going to fall. He's not going to like that. This fort south of the Viper's base is going to fall. So that does give him a bit of breathing space, but not for long because there's some more nest of bees on the job. He just have to send his knights to clean this up because DeMusliM doesn't really have a lot to defend a push here from the Viper other than the keep itself. There's really forward houses being placed now just to save on Vil travel time. He doesn't want to lock up the ones that are gathering at home. He'd rather just use these guys while he forts. While he keeps, so. 20 gatherers on the job repairing the keep. There is a trebuchet advantage here for DeMusliM still, so he can just look at focusing down the Viper's trebs, I think. So he is locking up a bunch of repairers of the Viper. The keep does fall. So DeMusliM now really having invested a lot of gather and build time into a futile effort. But now this might be enough because he's sniped one of the trebs. Another one's popped back out. It's up to 5 again still. Whoa, that's a lot of villagers taking the fight there for the Viper. 27 of them. And he is going to get another one of the nest of bees. He's going to commit. Trying to take down another treb. This keep has finished. Lots of villages there for the Viper being picked off. So he's down to under 100 pop. 81 eco and 12 military to 125 eco and 31 military. So things looking really healthy for the Viper at the moment. I mean, really unhealthy for the Viper at the moment. Really good for DeMusliM, but has he even got an armory yet? The Madman is just continuing to shove. And I don't think he's even got an armory anywhere. For armory upgrades, it's steaming in for the Viper. And now he's under threat once again. We've got 6v3 in the trebuchet count at the moment, so a lot of these buildings are going to fall extremely quickly. 6v4 I should say. So DeMusliM hasn't even gone for relics or anything behind this. But I think he realized if he just maintains the pressure at this rate, he can just continue to spiral things out of control for the Viper. Viper's getting more upgrades behind this. How many trebs does this man need? It's up to 8 different trebs. 7 of them are from the clock tower, so they are a little bit tankier as well. Market falling now. So neither player's gone for any relics, I don't think. No, neither player has, and the initial town center, the landmark town center there for the Viper, falling now, so he's looking really drastic for him. DeMusliM creeping forward again and again with the clock tower trebs. And he's just now hit Imperial Age, so he can start taking even more upgrades for his units. Or skip over them again. Oh, here we go. He's going to get Elite Knights, but he hasn't even bothered. Yeah, Elite Lancers, sorry, but he hasn't even bothered with any of his armory upgrades, I don't believe. There's a lot of Lancers to clean up. The Knights are all obviously focusing the siege down. But a cheeky keep attempt there denied. Is he going to try and put... Oh, he's going to repair all the trebs first. I'm going to say, is he going to try and put one over here maybe? So the Viper needs to find a way to actually break this, but he can't really afford to... But at this point he can't really afford to do anything to get out of this, I don't think. So he's just going to try and take what fights he can. He's getting close to finishing off repairing that initial landmark town center. All of his trebs are being taken out in the meantime. And so we're getting bombards now. No armory tech still. We are getting bombards now. Another aggressive keep from DeMusliM, the Viper. Now it's a reasonable army count, but it's still a little bit less than DeMusliM at this stage. The villagers now having to come in and repair the siege quickly, but they will get some crucial repairs off. They're going to go back to working on the keep. So the Viper is just relying on that Windguard Palace at this stage, and GG is the call.